We are constantly in search of inspiration here at the Soloist Academy. And now, with the help of our great friend, actor and comedian Matthias-Leonhard LANG, we will explore the acting today, the acting for musicians. Tell us about this. What is acting and what is being yourself?
Ideally, it's the same. The hardest duty, but the most beautiful for an actor is to be oneself.
That's the ultimate goal.
It is the ultimate goal. And I think it's the ultimate goal of all you artists that you are here. And these are the moments of grace where the divine finger touches you, that you are, it's not always feasible, it's not always possible, but basically in every acting training, this is what one trains. To be natural. The natural attitude we have when we are kids. When you see two kids beautiful. Playing a doctor or so, they really believe that they are doctor for 5 minutes. They really believe that they are the bad one, the evil one's coming and kill the other one, the cowboy, for 5 and 10 minutes, and that makes them true. That's why we, adults, actors, we never want to play with kids. They steal the show. They're much better than we are. Because they are true. They don't ask themselves. There is something which comes up when we become older, is to the fear of looking silly. And this, the fear of looking silly, in French you call it la peur du ridicule, is the poison of artistic expression.
We limit ourselves.
And that's why you limit yourself. There you start to ask yourself to be an auditor, a revisor, if I could quote some Russian literature, who looks on the other side if you're doing the right thing. And the worst revisor, the worst auditor are ourselves. Is it good? What are you doing here? Is it good for your career? What do the people say? Is it okay with what I was taught at home? Can I do that? What would my mom say? Am I good enough to make my daddy proud? Vulnerability. Using our vulnerability. And this is the hardest when we are adults. We hide our vulnerabilities. We think that nobody sees them. We spend 3/4 of our energy outside and we say, oh, come on, nobody sees them. But basically, more you let the little boy dance and the little girl sing, as my wife would put it, the better you are. Somebody who perhaps could just come up here said, oh, this guy is talking about psychotherapy, but we are not far away from that. Right? Carl Gustav Jung said that there is no artistic creation without any healing occurring. So that shows as well, I don't want to give us artists more value that we have in this world, but there is something about curing, yes. Curing ourselves, perhaps giving lightness. I mean, what you just wonderfully played here. Nearly made me cry. Yeah, makes us softer. Probably all of us are softer and more kind to each other after what you just did. So you have a social value of what you just played on this piano. And that's why we applaud it, definitely.
In this discussion, when you mentioned at the beginning that anything which can be read is acting. Someone said, I think it was Pushkin, that theater or literature is a biggest lie. That kind of lie can be an escape from reality. But then, how do we put together with the idea of sincerity and being yourself and the world of lies and illusion?
I think lie incorporates a moral judgment. It's not the reality of what we are living nowadays. And then I think lie goes too far away, because lie means fiction, which gives me a material interest. Okay? When I tell you something wrong, it's not a lie. When I tell you something wrong to take advantage of you, to take money out of you, to make you vote for me, whatever, it becomes a lie. You know what I see? And I think at least I try to make the difference between these two. There's one side fiction and there's other thing lie. And this mix-up was made a lot in history.
So you don't feel like you're manipulating people's emotions? If you want to make them cry, you make them cry. You want them dance, they will dance. You don't feel...
I think people, the first thing, why do you buy a subscription to Netflix here? Why do you buy a ticket going into a cinema? Because you buy emotions. You want to cry, you want to be happy, you say, oh, fucking bastard! And then they say, he's an actor. And we want emotion, we want to have emotions. That makes this, that gives us a certain sense of joy and intensity of life. François Truffaut said, movies is the life in better. La vie, les films, c'est la vie, mais en mieux.
Maestro Alessio NEBIOLO, to share his harmony and emotions with us this morning.
Absolutely. The Jimi Hendrix of the 18th century, ladies and gentlemen.
You also mentioned that your wife saw you as a Don Quixote for the last month.
For my whole life,
yes,
but
but especially now because you were performing in this festival.
Yeah, in Avignon, Festival d'Avignon.
So that means that for the last month you were believing, like a child,
absolutely,
that you are Don Quixote.
I think when you saw me yesterday, probably I really believed that.
Yes.
Yeah? And that's why you have sometimes to be also careful with your own brain, that you don't stay there.
Okay, so that's a difficulty.
But I think you're good when you're really at that moment, you really are sure that you are the one. Yeah. The main resource of acting is emotion. The main resource of acting is emotion, is not text, is not literature. And this is the real statement of method acting, and I would say also Stanislavski method. Actually, learning the lines. Many people say, oh, that's amazing. How can you memorize this? And I think like you musicians also, how can you for a quarter of an hour, or if I see you yesterday in your Chacona, don't you jump a page, for instance? And for him, let's say, it's obvious that, no, of course, there's a logic for that. So the learning of lines, which sometimes outsiders are impressed of the memory, is definitely the least thing. The first thing is to find the emotion and the logic which works with it. What might have felt the lady, the gentleman who wrote this, who lived this. And when you have this, when you found really the emotion, and this is sometimes very hard, it also needs courage, because you have to go into you, sometimes to spots which are not the best ones, sometimes into suffering. Suffering moments are the best resource for every artistic creation. Emotion, ourselves, we are all libraries of emotions. Yeah.
And you pull out the one you want. at the moment.
I like you say it with love. He's such an elegant man. It's like you pull out the one you need. You pull out the one you need. This is more that, you know. First of all, you say, there's no. You're in the middle of it, and then you have to look for it, and it doesn't want to come out, and you have to talk to it. You have to say, okay, become the kid, become the boy who cried that day, become this disappointment.
Many different versions of yourself.
Yes, being fully you, trying to be fully you, but you don't always manage to be.
Thank you. Can I ask you, what is your feeling now that you're on stage? How was your experience? What you go through? What are your thoughts about acting or being yourself or relaxing? What are you? Are you relaxed? Are you working to be present? What is your feeling overall of the performance? I want to get inside of you.
Inside of me. Okay. It's not easy to answer to this question. I think that every time when we are on stage, we need to force ourselves to act. After that, when we are there, we become something else, someone else, possibly. We become the performer, and we try to feel the music. The music is a sort of line conducting us to find the atmosphere we are looking for, the feeling we are looking for. But to pass from this chair to this one, even if we are in a very unconventional situation, is anyway it's something. Yes, you have to do. I think.
So you begin with an effort, and you end up.
Yeah.
Being yourself.
Exactly.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Exactly.
Matthias, how are you now?
Very well.
Are you yourself?
I am. I pray every day to, let's say, to the arts. An actor is always now and in the present. I'm always here and in the moment. This is a kind of a mantra that I said probably every time before I read a poem yesterday on stage. I'm always here and in the moment. And you don't think then, what might the people think of what I'm doing? Did I do right? Did I do something wrong 5 minutes ago or 3 minutes ago?
As you mentioned now, these questions, this inside judge of yourself, which is we are all dealing.
The revisor.
The revisor. Yeah, we're all dealing with that person.
Sometimes they are 2 or 3. They come as a team.
Yes, they could be. It's more acceptance rather than fight against. Because I've been fighting that judge for many years, and that always made it worse. So I got even more nervous when I was trying to. Also, my playing wasn't really there because I was wasting my energy and time and energy, especially energy, of fighting it rather than just accepting it. What are your thoughts?
It's the permanent quest for letting go. Lâcher prise, as they say in French. And this is probably the hardest thing of all. There are many approaches, and I think we live in a society who is in search of that. I think this letting go attitude, what helps quite a lot is looking over our own shoulder. I learned that. I did therapy, I did a therapy which helped me a lot in my life. And one thing that I often learned was when this revisor, when this auditor, when this critical voice is too strong, is to imagine yourself on a trail when you walk and looking actually back and looking what you did over the last year or over the last months. And basically a certain sense of gratitude often comes out. gratitude to yourself, to the universe, perhaps something that you might call God, parents, or whatever, or friends, or luck. And this is usually, for me, appeasing. And when you have this appeasing feeling, that lets you go back, and you have a certain sense that what you're doing is right. And you're always now and in the moment. And then you're free again for your art.
Chers amis, dear friends, I propose to close up this session by a performance by Sasha and Kirill, and perhaps if Vladimir has a feeling, could make his effortless way to the stage. Can you compare someone who is not, let's say, artistic? We're all artistic, I believe, but whose profession is not theater or music, who is perhaps less experienced with emotions, with an actor who is experienced? What is to be yourself for, let's say, an average listener who is not musician or dancer or actor, and for a very experienced, very sensitive, always on the edge actor?
I think everybody has emotions.
Yes, of course.
Everybody has emotions, and it's not just the job who defines it. It depends on what you do with your emotions. I had 2 jobs in my life. I come from a background which is not artistic. Okay, I was a banker. I was a trader. I'm trained macroeconomics and econometrics, mathematics. Okay. My 2 parents were war orphans. I'm Austrian. The dads didn't come back from war, so there was big admiration for art, but definitely not the self-indulgence to say, okay, let's become an artist, etc. There was for sure an attitude in saying, be autonomous, train something. So you learn economics, you perhaps show up even at a rather okay university in Switzerland. And for 15 years, I enjoyed it. But I think I was not an emotional fridge. Emotions were there. Everybody has emotions, but they are here like the grass here, and perhaps on the lawn here there's grass. There are little flowers. Can you see the little daisies, the white daisies? They grow everywhere. And I think the artist is the one who goes to the daisies and makes out the flower shop out of them. You know, to take these emotions and say, okay, let's look more into them, and then they grow. And then we see sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're painful. And we link them to a craft, because acting is again a craft, and playing music is also a craft. It's something, a technicity that you have to learn with patience. And to link these emotions with the craft, and you figure out that the emotion is the fuel to make the engine run. You see, the technicity is the car, and the gas which makes run the car is the emotion.
So you need the energy. You need energy, and you need investment and work.
Yep, for sure.
To be yourself.
You need energy, investment, and work. You always need sweat. Yeah, definitely. Just talent doesn't work. Can be even dangerous. Acting is not making a show. You see what I mean? I think
that's interesting.
And often Actually, I had a good trainer. What I got as a training as an actor, because my career started quite late. I had somebody who gave me really, sometimes perhaps in a very intense way, sometimes painful, and a trainer who's called Giles Foreman, who has a center in London, Giles Center, and in Paris. You start to do, you prepare your thing, and it's very quickly, stop acting, be again, stop acting, don't play, don't put these things on your face, this is wrong, this is fake, I don't believe it, this kind of, and then he touches, stop this is, you play, you want to be funny, stop it. You're gonna be by yourself. It's by being surprised by situations you have.
What if you are not funny?
And you don't care. That was a funny situation. And yeah, you don't care. You are you, and sometimes probably the same play has a different consequence on the audience. Absolutely.
Yes, it's true. You are yourself when you improvise, but also you try to get inspired by some emotions or your thoughts or your experience, and then you play with this like instrument, and you try to be inspired or by some nature or by some picture, I don't know, you just go being yourself, but you kind of research, it's like self-research, I can say.
What makes it different, stage being yourself and everyday life being yourself? Kirill, please.
Actually, I think that we are acting every time, every second, every minute in our life, and I think that acting is connected with public, because we are always somewhere where other people are also. So we have a public everywhere. So we have a lot of roles for ourselves every day, every minute.
You see these roles in method acting, you call it the public persona. You create a persona, you create a mask, which is unconsciously and consciously, but unconsciously usually nourished by many things. By the pains we had, by the objectives we have, by what we saw from mommy and daddy, what we disliked from mommy and daddy, what we from our milieu, whatever. And that's the public persona, and that changes.
The purpose of the art, of theater or music or dance, is to go beyond the role, just to be, not to act, because we are sometimes, I think that we are so tired from the acting, and we need to go to ourselves and to find ourselves, to be ourselves. And I think when we concentrate, or when we are focused on some subject, like the like one role or one musical composition. So we go just into it and we go beyond it, and that helps us a lot to connect with ourselves. So for me, the art is the way to ourselves.